Hello and welcome to An Image is Worth 1,000 Words. My name is Rob, and don't forget to check out the rest of my blog posts on my website at robhextall.com.
Hello, and here is this week's question. How did the shipping container change commerce? Before you start, check that you understand this vocabulary. Pause the video to make sure that you understand everything. This week's image is of the outdoor market in the city centre of my hometown, Wolverhampton. Shipping containers were chosen to create the perimeter and entrance, partly to make any possible future expansion much easier and cheaper, but also as a symbol of trade and economic vitality. In the early 1960s, world trade was less than 20% of world GDP. Now it's around 50%. We purchase toys made in China. Copper is imported from Chile. Our t-shirts are from Bangladesh. We drink wine from New Zealand, grind Ethiopian coffee and eat peppers grown in Peru. Not everyone is happy about this, but like it or not, globalization is a fundamental feature of the modern economy. It can be argued that the biggest enabler of globalization isn't a comprehensive network of free trade agreements between countries or economic blocs, but a simple invention that was championed by a single person, despite the trading establishment being against him. It is a corrugated steel box, 8 feet wide, 8.5 feet high and 40 feet long, the shipping container. Those nice round numbers are imperial measurements that in metric are 2.44 meters wide by 2.59 meters high by 12.19 meters long. Shipping containers are so ubiquitous in the 21st century that it can be difficult to imagine how goods were shipped around the world prior to their invention. Tim Harford, in his fascinating book 50 Things That Made the Modern Economy, describes how, in 1954, a cargo ship called the SS Warrior carried merchandise from New York to Germany. On that trip, just over 5,000 tons of cargo, including food, household goods and vehicles, was carried as 194,582 separate items in 1,156 different shipments. Keeping track of all those consignments as they moved around warehouses was a nightmare, but the real challenge was physically loading the ship. The longshoremen who did the job would pile barrels, boxes and packets onto a wooden pallet on the dock. Once that had been lifted up and deposited in the hold of a ship, more longshoremen would skillfully manoeuvre each individual item into every available nook and cranny, not only to maximise space, but also to make sure that nothing would fall over or break during the long journey across rough seas. Loading and unloading a ship could take up to 10 days on each side of the Atlantic and was one of the most dangerous jobs in the world. In today's money, every ton of cargo on the SS Warrior cost over $400. So why does it only cost around $50 a ton nowadays? The concept of using containers to streamline the whole process was nothing new, but none of the stakeholders, such as ports and shipping companies, could agree on a standard. At the same time, there were dock workers' unions who wanted to protect jobs, and bureaucrats who refused to reduce red tape. As is often the case, the situation required the right person in the right place at the right time to enable change to happen. And this person was Malcolm McLean, a trucking entrepreneur who also owned a shipping company. McLean spent a small fortune independently implementing an integrated container system, which meant that he was in the perfect position to sell the idea to the US military who needed to resolve the logistical nightmare of shipping huge amounts of equipment to Vietnam. On the return journey, McLean refilled his empty container ships with produce from Asia, and so kick-started trans-Pacific trade. Nowadays, a modest container ship can carry 20 times as much cargo as the SS Warrior did back in the 1950s. Gigantic cranes swing back and forth to pick up and drop off 25-ton containers in a highly coordinated dance that empties and fills ships simultaneously in a question of hours rather than days. This enormous increase in efficiency has led to a drastic reduction in shipping fees. Economists who study international trade often assume that transport costs are zero. It keeps the mathematics simpler, and thanks to the shipping container, it's almost true. As a result, manufacturers are less and less interested in positioning their factories close to their customers, or even their suppliers. Instead, they find a location where low wages, lenient regulations, and friendly tax regimes make production more efficient. A boon for developing countries, but a challenge for developed economies that have had to find ways to adapt their aging industrial sectors to the realities of a hyper-globalized and increasingly efficient world economy. Let's chat about the picture and those ideas. Number 1. Describe the picture in as much detail as possible. What are the shoppers thinking? Number 2. Do you know where all the products that you buy come from? Is it important for you? Why? Why not? Number 3. Who benefits from globalization and who suffers? Give examples. Number 4. Can developed countries continue to make important industrial products? Give examples from your area. Number 5. Do you think the shipping container has had an impact on environmental sustainability? And here's a quick activity for you. Take 5 objects from around your home and describe how and where they were made. Thank you for watching. I hope this was useful. Have a great day, a great week, and an absolutely fantastic weekend. Bye!